Christy Coffey. I'm the senior litigation paralegal for Kaplan Law Firm. I like Progress Texas because they put out information in the media that is the truth, the facts, and not just billionaire conglomerates spreading misinformation. Keep your heads up. We're all here fighting the fight, and it seems like a tunnel that has no end and has no light, but we're going to get there. And as long as we stick together, we're going to hopefully make a difference.
It's Thursday, May 21st, 2026, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. Progress Texas amplifies progressive values, leaders, and actions through our no paywall podcasts and digital media. We make Texas politics easy to understand and to participate in, and your support for fact-based independent media hands the mic to millions of Texans. Thanks so much to Samuel Longair, Jennifer Barnes, and Greg Mayer for their ongoing sustaining support. We really appreciate it. So we've been preoccupied with the ongoing primary runoff election of late, especially the Senate race. But while we've been distracted, dastardly behavior by ICE has continued unabated in Texas. Lummi Creel, writing for the Texas Tribune and ProPublica, says the ongoing medical neglect of a detained Guatemalan woman highlights the human cost of the Trump administration's aggressive immigration policies that serve a gravitational center of dehumanization. Andrea Pedro Francisco, apprehended in Minnesota and detained in Texas, has been repeatedly denied a critical surgery to remove a Lyme-sized ovarian cyst, despite independent medical experts warning of permanent infertility, sepsis, or potential cancer risks. ICE medical staff have spun a different and patently false story, downplaying her condition and giving her only over-the-counter pain relievers. As always, the cruelty is the point, and this situation unfolds against a backdrop of enormous strain on ICE's detention system. There are now over 60,000 individuals being held in ICE's detention centers, a far overextension of their designed capacity. The Trump machine may have backed off on the abject and public offenses, but the suffering has continued to worsen. Speaking of those abject and public offenses, and speaking of the election, the two have merged in reporting by Michael Carlos of the San Antonio Current, who says ICE agents conducted a dramatic raid at a San Antonio voting location yesterday, highlighting the growing tension over immigration operations in close proximity to voting locations ahead of the upcoming November midterm election. This happened in the parking lot of the Las Palmas Branch Library following a DPS stop in which ICE became involved. Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar showed up on the scene late in the incident and instructed all of the federal personnel to remove themselves from the premises. But the optics are there and the damage is done. Staging immigration enforcement actions at voting sites amounts to voter intimidation, regardless of whether voters were directly approached. We mustn't tolerate or become accustomed to the high visibility presence of plainclothes ICE agents in places where people are trying to exercise their right to vote. That's an unacceptable combination that disrupts democratic spaces and confirms for some fears that federal resources are being angled to discourage the participation in those democratic spaces of people of color. As Corpus Christi struggles to find a survivable pathway to a drier future, regional conflicts that are as much about dollars as they are about drinking water have begun to arise. Emily Salazar and Dylan Badur at Inside Climate News say Corpus Christi has been preemptively laying pipelines to draw 24 million gallons of water daily from the nearby Evangeline Aquifer, but the small nearby town of Sinton has launched a legal challenge to protect its own local supply, prompting allegations that those local leaders are prioritizing a lucrative, water-intensive artificial intelligence and data center complex over the stability of the greater region's drinking water supply. Texas, as you know, has become the epicenter of large-scale data installations, and statewide, data center water consumption is projected to skyrocket from 120 million to 640 million gallons daily by 2030. That's a supply strain in the name of tech bro profits that will directly threaten resources that sustain the very lives of everyday Texans. We have a deep dive on data centers coming through the podcast pipeline with both energy and environmental experts and independent Texas journalists covering that crucial issue on the way to this podcast feed soon. Amidst the crazy drama in South Texas and the CD35 Democratic runoff, another endorsement lands on the growing pile for law enforcement veteran Johnny Garcia, who's a terrific candidate as evidenced in our visit with him a couple of clicks back on this podcast feed, but whose prospects have been elevated by the bizarre behavior of his opponent, Maureen Galindo. This time it's the editorial board of the Houston Chronicle sounding the alarm that a conspiracy crackpot has no business becoming the Democratic congressional nominee for this crucial part of Texas. They write that not only have progressives and Democrats from across the wide spectrum of the American left turned their backs on Galindo, even pro-Palestinian activist groups who once thought she might be an ally have taken note of her very dark and very concerning thought process. Again, the only ones still backing Galindo are the right-wing associated dark money funding elements who will gladly dive into this gutter in order to derail the Democrats in November. Continue spreading the word in South Texas. Galindo, in my opinion, has done us a favor, actually, with her nutball routine and prompting a second look at Johnny Garcia, whom our board at Progress Texas has also endorsed in his run for Congress. Again, that talk with Garcia is worth backtracking to if you haven't heard it yet. The statewide primary runoff elections are here. Early voting is underway today and tomorrow, and then Tuesday, Election Day, May 26th. See our carefully crafted GoVoteTexas.org for everything you need to know about voting in Texas. We had a great time last night in Cypress with a bunch of good friends and enjoyed meeting a bunch of new ones, too, at the super fun Creekwood Grill. Our talk with the freshly elected trustees of the Cy-Fair ISD board will hit this pod feed as well soon. Great to see Houston State Rep and Democratic nominee for Texas Railroad Commission John Rosenthal and event sponsor and nominee for the Texas House, Otis Evagaro, as well. Great crowd of Houston area progressives. Really enjoyed it. And thanks to our other two event sponsors, Democratic congressional nominee Sean Finney and the Honorable Leslie Briones, for their support. We can't wait to do it again. And we will. We're now dialed in for our 16th anniversary celebration happening in Dallas. Save that date. It's Tuesday, June 16th, and see the link in our show notes to reserve your spot. Our good friends Howard Klingon, Charles Zeller, Alex Andrade, the Honorable Dick Levine, Nancy Sanders, Mark Melton, Sarah Peretta and Jason Smith, the Honorable Allison Grinter Allen, Doug Jones, the Honorable Bill Peterson, the Honorable Adam Swartz, Mark Yagjian, John Adair, Julie Evans, the Lake Travis Democrats, Jenny Laughlin, Texas Blue Media, the Honorable Jeremy Sutka, and Mike Ware are among the supporters of our 16th anniversary shindig. We appreciate all of you very much. Our live events are a major way we keep doing what we do, and by sponsoring and attending, you're helping Progress Texas continue our important work during this crucial election year. Learn how to support and join us live at ProgressTexas.org. Houston listeners, the next episode of our In Progress Roundtable show will come to you on the radio in the middle of a new Thursday afternoon block of progressive political programming today. In Progress starts at 6:30 p.m. every Thursday on KPFT 90.1 FM after the Progressive Forum and before the midterm show with Ernest Witry. And it will run a second time this Sunday morning and every Sunday morning at 11 on KPFT FM HD2. With your support, we hope to expand our radio footprint beyond Houston this year. Click the link in the show notes to make your tax-deductible donation to help us reach new audiences via Texas Radio. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Thursday, May 21st, 2026. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. When lies in Texas are well funded by the far right, your support for fact-based reporting is needed and appreciated. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a terrific day, and we'll see you again right here tomorrow morning.